Welcome back to Twisted Marathon. This time, we're going to play as whatever the hell vehicle I feel like. We're going to play a game that I have not done a full playthrough of yet. Look at that. If that doesn't entice you to watch a full playthrough of Small Brawl, I don't know what will. Yeah, I recently completed the Let's Play of this video game. It is a video game. I don't know, Small Brawl is a weird one. I don't have anyone who I particularly need to show off because I did a very thorough Let's Play of it already. So, the most logical choice is, always, Sweet Tooth. I mean, why the hell not? He doesn't really want anything, just ice cream. Supposedly, but he might have an ulterior motive. I don't have Mime unlocked in this profile. I'm on the emulator right now. Also, Mime is, like, statistically horrible, and I would have a very, very difficult playthrough if I didn't practice the game, which I did. I also do not have Trapper unlocked. I could easily load up the Game Shark codes that I've been using to unlock various characters, but I could even more easily play Sweet Tooth. So, here's the selling point of the game. Fantastic soundtrack. I still think maybe the best soundtrack in all of Twisted Metal. Axel would have been perfectly viable. Dark Side, I also wouldn't have minded. I considered doing Dark Side. But in the end, it legitimately does not matter. There's Dark Side now. Don't you wish we were playing as Dark Side? I feel like there are intricacies to playing as Sweet Tooth that are worth exploring. Supposedly Axel is considered pretty bad in this game. Oh yeah, also he's misspelled as AXLE, but only in the victory screen. But of course, Evie Lunis knows this game much better than I do, which is really saying a lot. So I am unsurprised that they would know that tiny little bit of minutia. Oh, interesting. I guess they slowed down Axel from the beta of this game to its final release. The special, specifically. Yeah, I'm interested to know about just the most minute details of this game. I can definitely rattle them off here. When I was doing the Let's Play, I had, like, 5, at best 10 minutes to discuss all sorts of goings-on, show off all sorts of little things, and talk about it. My plate was full. I couldn't get into very much minutia during the Let's Play. Having covered all that nonsense, the essentials, we'll say, now I can blather about whatever minuscule detail I feel like. I guess I should have blown up the supports for the playground, but that would have taken more time. There's always future playthroughs of Small Brawl. I don't intend to add Small Brawl to the regular, like, rotation. Just because I don't enjoy playing it very much. But it might still be fun to switch things up with the occasional Small Brawl playthrough. I forget if knocking down the playground on top of somebody deals damage to them. I've dropped it on myself, and my tests were inconclusive. But I guess, yeah, they probably don't deal damage if you drop any of the playgrounds on top of somebody. I have a lot of homing missiles. Keep having to fight Darkseid. Darkseid has a lot of HP. So when you had to fight Darkseid, you have a longer level that you have to play through. Yeah, randomized weapon pickups is a great idea. And the Mimic Special is a great idea. But especially randomized special, or randomized weapons. I think there was another game that had randomized weapons. I mean, in Head On, if you grab a upgrade point, and you already have maxed out upgrades, then you get a random item. That might have been what I was thinking of. But it is a good idea regardless. A terrible idea is the way Turbo works in this game, where you get a very limited amount of Turbo, and getting a Turbo pickup only regenerates a little bit of the limited amount you have. Doesn't even give you a full bar back. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. This obviously is the only game that works like that. This is also quite an easy Twisted Metal game. Overall. But playing on hard mode is kind of a pain. Ultimately, the consensus from my YouTube comments was not unanimous, but most people seem to agree that beating the game with every character on medium is what's required to unlock Trapper. Then beating the game on hard with Trapper is required to unlock Piecemeal. There were 2 or 3 people who had specific experience with doing that series of events. And honestly, I would not be surprised in the least if they were all correct, even though there were slight discrepancies between their claims. Because there have been all sorts of conflicting reports all over the internet regarding how you unlock Trapper and how you unlock Piecemeal afterwards. Yep. Makes the most sense that that would be the case, although ultimately it would not make sense to require hard mode when unlocking Piecemeal. Because that would mean that's the only thing you ever have to activate hard mode for. And you wouldn't really even think to do that. much less willingly choose to do that. Head-on is also very easy. If Small Brawl had been created in the Twisted Metal Black engine, I imagine it would have been very, very similar to Head-on. Because Small Brawl is generally an easier game than most other Twisted Metals. There's every indication that it also would have been an easy Twisted Metal game in the Twisted Metal Black engine. Which would have made it quite similar to my beloved Head-on. Head-on is very controversial, though. I don't know why. I love it. Some of the people in the YouTube comments consider it their favorite Twisted Metal. And many think that it is far too easy. Opinions all over the map. We still get some disagreement on Twisted Metal Black, though. Some people feel it is too hard. I do tend to like the occasional relaxing, laid-back Twisted Metal that I don't have to practice for hours before, you know, trying to go show it off. Or when I'm playing them casually, practice for hours in order to complete even a single level of progress. Yep, there we go. I was just inputting the commands wrong, because we're talking about energy moves here, and I always input the commands wrong. Our special, I wanted to show this off, appears to be penetrative. So if we hit an enemy, it keeps going, or bounces off of them. It's a bit unclear because it all happens so quickly. Man, the soundtrack for this level is way too high energy for the level itself. I appreciate it, but it's a little much. It's the Cyberb slide, I believe, from Twisted Metal 1. And there's a lot going on here. Nope, not that one. Oh, someone else blew it up, somehow. I guess that guy lit his own fart. Big Dick's his name. Plumbing is his game. And we should be able to kill everybody very quickly. But the, like, sliding ice cream special is actually kind of bad. It's hard to land properly. It deals decent damage, and it bounces around, so it can hit multiple enemies. I think it can even hit the same enemy multiple times. Citation needed. But it is a perfectly adequate weapon. It seems to fire individual shots more quickly than ricochets do. Ricochets fire unbelievably slowly. After you fire a ricochet, you can't do anything for several seconds, which is excruciating. You never want several seconds of downtime in a Twisted Metal game. Like, Brimstone's special also locks him down for a couple of seconds. And it makes him one of the worst vehicles in the game. Just in and of itself. I think this might be one of my least favorite music tracks in this game. It's certainly not bad. It just doesn't have much going for it. There's our only random item pickup in this level, inside the volcano. I forget if I even bothered to show that off in the Let's Play. Also, I know for a fact I didn't show off falling into the volcano, which spits you out in a seemingly random direction. I have not noticed very much consistency as to which direction it fires you off in. There's more, yeah, power missiles on top of this golf hole. Alright, I can't believe this is the first time this has happened, but there's something... Basically, the thing that ruins this game is that it sometimes misreads whether you're moving backwards or forwards and reverses your controls. And it can be very hard to make it reverse your controls back to the way they're supposed to go, even when you are now moving forwards. And that is very, very hard to describe. It's very hard to depict in a way that makes any visual sense. If you were to play this game for even a couple of minutes, you would know exactly what I mean. But it screws me up constantly. It's made me miss tons and tons of shots that I absolutely should have landed, and many that I needed to land. And in my opinion, it makes playing this game on hard difficulty quite intolerable. Because hard difficulty actually is somewhat hard. Enemy aggression is through the roof on hard difficulty, and they will activate shields anytime you have a good opportunity to land a clean hit. So that aspect of this game has a very steep learning curve, and it's never going to make any sense. It's just the thing you sort of get used to. And when you recognize that it's happening, you sort of just accept it and push the directional controls harder. And you stop attacking, of course, because you know the attacks are not going to land, because you're not going to be able to aim properly. And to me, that is like the thing that really drives this game into the ground. So it's a shame that I can't really describe it that well, even doing my best. Seems like the people in chat know what it means if they played it. Otherwise, a bit hopeless to convey it, but oh well. I do have plenty of weapons and quite a bit of health. Should probably take out a lot of these enemies. Is that Outlaw over there? This is the only, like, level in the game. Everything else is a large square, which was my big complaint about Twisted Metal 3's level design, is every level is just a square with maybe one or two things thrown in to mix up the squarishness of it. This game has one level that is anything besides a big square. And it's kind of too big. From a fun perspective, this ends up being one of the least enjoyable levels in the game. For me, at least. Yeah, an input display would probably help if I were to set up something like that. But even then, it's more momentum-based than input-based. That is causing the controls to be reversed, even when I'm attempting to move forward. And it all happens in a matter of, like, a split second, which is just enough to ruin your aim. Not necessarily enough to compare an input reader to what is visually occurring on a screen. That said, considering that I am playing on an emulator, it would be relatively easy to throw up an input display. Relatively. I've never done it before, but should be simple enough. I also meant to try putting up a, like, now playing reader on the screen, throughout the stream, for when I'm playing original music, besides that which is intended for the game, as was the case throughout Twisted Metal 3 and 4, and will be the case throughout 2012. Trapper is ridiculously hard. After I read all the rumors that the only way to unlock Trapper is to beat the entire game with every character on hard difficulty, I did start playing through the game with every character on hard difficulty. And as Mr. Grimm, I literally could not beat Trapper on hard mode. I got really close a few times, but it was just so frustrating. It's not a very satisfying challenge. You have to be very, very careful. If I get him over here, he might get underneath the spikes and get stabbed to death. Like he's doing. You know, he's right underneath the spike. And it doesn't seem to be hurting him. Hurts me. I had to test to make sure it was still working. Is this thing on? It very much is. Those descending spears, they can one-hit kill some of the other enemies. It's not actually one hit, they hit continuously. So every couple of frames, they will deal their full damage, which is a relatively large percentage of most enemies' health bars. Trapper doesn't seem to care. But he did just use his shield, so he can't shield again for a little while. Look at how just so much health he has. Preposterous. Did I just hit save? No, don't save. There's nothing to save here. I'm on an emulator anyway. I've been using save states. It was so frustrating to me when I did eventually resolve to just use Game Shark codes to play as Trapper to show it off for the Let's Play. And then I did play as Trapper, and he was absolute garbage. One of the least fun characters I'd played as. No power trip to it whatsoever. just another chump. I would have been furious if I'd actually legitimately unlocked Trapper. And he sucked that bad. Thankfully, I didn't. But I did try. Oh, I can't believe that didn't count. He sort of clipped into the yellow and black warding tape around the side of the grinder. Which tends to happen, especially with the faster vehicles. Crimson Fury is, if I'm not mistaken, the fastest. I said it was Twister, but that's because the instruction manual says that it's Twister. I think it actually is Crimson Fury who is the fastest. Good for him. It doesn't matter. Every character is pretty fast. Even the slowest character is comparable to Crimson Fury. So it really doesn't make a world of difference. And also every character is pretty fragile no matter how high their armor is. Which is another thing that I found frustrating about this game. That basically every character feels pretty similar to one another. Of course, I get sucked right into the grinder. Okay, Spectre did get exploded in the grinder. Really thought it was just going to stick on the edge that whole time. Come out scot-free. Fortunately, not the case. Probably going to have to do legitimate damage to kill everybody else, though. They should have put health refills inside the falling legs of meat. They actually are pretty difficult to knock down. So some kind of reward would have been nice. I mean, it is a reward enough to see that exploding meat. It's pretty satisfying. But, you know, it's a missed opportunity in a game that took the vast majority of opportunities that it gave itself. I'm still really impressed with the sheer amount of interactivity in the various environmental objects throughout this game. It's extraordinarily high. And I'm not going to show off most of that throughout this casual playthrough. Because a lot of it can be a huge pain to get to work properly. So I feel the Let's Play was worth doing. It's probably worth watching. I do say so myself. Yeah, actually trying to fight in this level, which I did not do during the Let's Play, takes quite a while. It is nearly over, though. 2 remaining enemies do not have much as far as health. Oh god, the next level. Which we're going to right now. Gridiron Gore is my least favorite level in this game. By quite a wide margin. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Connor Rose. Thanks to everyone who has stopped by. But active chatters, especially keeping me going. And donors, naturally. Tremendously appreciated. I didn't point it out in the Let's Play, but I wanted to, because it took me a long time to realize this myself. There is a passed out drunk dude on top of the lawnmower here. You can see like a hat and his fat gut as he's laying back. And I'm pretty sure he's a giant. Like one of the largest human beings in the history of the world. Relative to like our vehicle and the field goal. Like the perspective throughout this entire level makes no sense. But in order to have it make sense, the level would have to be much, much, much larger. And it's already way too large, so I guess that's a fair trade-off. Supposedly, the environmental attack can be an effective way to take out an opponent pretty quickly. I never get it to work. Like, let's... Yeah, it was going for me. It went for Crimson Fury there, and it got him. Didn't deal much damage, but I guess it worked. Often when I use the environmental attack, it just doesn't work at all. So right there, it probably wasn't evident. But I was backing up. So I hit left in order to turn right so that I could aim my weapon towards the target. But it turned me left. Even though the controls were supposed to be reversed. So I switched. And I started hitting right to try and turn right. But by then, it registered that I was moving in reverse properly. So right turned me left. So I pressed both directional buttons back to back. And they turned me in opposite directions. With no actual change of momentum from me. Causing me to waste precious seconds. Just to describe even more in depth the sort of stuff I'm talking about. I'm talking about this game's weird controls. Yeah, there we go, another one down. There are health refills inside this thing. The roadkill. The Shelbyville Roadkill. Roadkill's one appearance in Twisted Metal Small Brawl. As he was brutally removed from the cast list. I don't know if he was ever meant to be a playable vehicle, but it is awkward that he isn't a playable vehicle. Considering that almost every other Twisted Metal 1 and 2 vehicle is playable here. Piecemeal is, in a lot of ways, the roadkill of this game. Being made out of scraps of other cars. Much more visibly made out of scraps of other cars, too. Piecemeal's design is fantastic. Like, that is top-tier vehicle design. And they didn't even really have to do anything special. Just take parts of existing vehicles and slap them together. And it's great. Excellent work to the devs of this game. And this level has gone fairly well. You can actually see, like, perceptible homing on our ice cream bar when fired from a great enough distance. It doesn't, like, swerve towards the target, but it does bounce directly into the direction that they are currently sitting. So yeah, that level can be much more painful. Sweet Tooth is actually pretty tough in this game. If we were to tier the vehicles out, Sweet Tooth would be ranked pretty high. Yep, there's the recipe for a go-kart. Just put brakes on a lawnmower. Sounds like a go-kart to me. Sounds like my favorite song in all of Twisted Metal. Could listen to it all day. I pretty much have been. I didn't get stuck in Holland for very long. Retroactive spoilers. Holland was the one level that went well in Twisted Metal 2. It's kind of neat the way the trampoline works. It bounces you to the opposite direction of whatever side you land on. So it is possible, if you get enough momentum, to like bounce all the way to the far side of the trampoline, which will then bounce you back in the direction that you came from. So you'll basically land where you started. And for some reason, I think that's cool. I can't explain it. Send the lawnmower back over the bridge. Seems like it might have bothered a person or two. Yeah, now that you mention it, Twisted Metal 3 and 1, they all have final bosses that fire every special in the game. Give or take. I mean, Twisted Metal 1's final boss fires like 6 different specials in the game simultaneously. Twisted Metal 3's fires really only like 3 specials in the game, all at the same time. That's probably lethal. Oh, nope. Oh, yeah. Squeeze through the edge of the trampoline. But yeah, there are multiple previous Twisted Metals where the final boss's gimmick is they fire multiple specials at the same time. They don't technically have a special of their own. And that might have been the inspiration for Piecemeal, and thus retroactively for Mime having every special in the game via a mimic property. Hadn't really considered that before. But if that is the case, it's pretty cool. The instruction manual for Twisted Metal 3 says that Primeval has every special in the game. And then when you fight Primeval, he just fires a skull with 2 little bits of shrapnel on either side of it. So it's really just Mr. Grimm's special and the graphic for Roadkill special on either side of it. But it is intended to represent every special in the game simultaneously. Is my generous reading. And obviously the first game's minion visibly fires off a whole ton of specials all at the same time. Such that it seems like it's firing off every special in the game. To the naked eye. There we go. Rammed him to death. On to the final level. Now, I should have actually something new to show off here. Hopefully. I wasn't able to do it in the Let's Play. Like, legitimately, I had the idea, and I practiced trying to do it, and I couldn't pull it off. So, we'll see. But it has been pointed out by multiple people that fire extinguisher there, I almost called it a fire hydrant, it can be shot and will then do stuff if I pull that off. But I can't really figure out the best way to do that. Like, there's a weird curvature on our weapons. They will lazily home towards enemies if enemies are in the way. There doesn't seem to be a fantastic choice for how to hit the fire extinguisher. Power missiles will also vertically track enemies, even though power missiles are not intended to have any homing capabilities. In this game, they will still vertically track opponents, if they have the means to do so. So I'm trying to get a perfect angle going as I descend from an angled fall here. It's not working because I'm getting different angles each time I jump. Oh, come on, that was spot on. It was slightly to the left, but that's very precise. And now Mr. Grimm is pulling the homing. Get out of here, Grimm. I have very important work to do. There we go. Bullseye. There it is. Doing stuff. Will it hurt me? It's not hurting me. Maybe it'll hurt an enemy if it stops by. But it looks like it's gone. All that work. And just no payoff. Again, a lot of points for having that kind of interactable. I just wish it were easier to manipulate. It looked like it was legitimately trying to do something, but it got sort of stuck in the corner. Maybe you're supposed to do that after Piecemeal has gone berserk and smashed all the aisles, all the seats here. Maybe then it would be more effective. But I fired it off prematurely. So that might be worth further exploration eventually. But I did, very much like the helicopter in Twisted Metal 4, have that idea and try it for a long time. And it seemed like I did everything in my power to shoot that particular destructible, and it never worked. So I just assumed it was not possible. But clearly it is possible. And destroying the helicopter was also clearly quite possible. Now I'm going to fire the ricochet missile thing that I have equipped. And then I'm going to tell you when I get to fire a second one, just so you get an idea of how great the delay is. So, 3, 2, 1, fire. Okay, they fired back to back. So never mind. Maybe they fire very rapidly, and I just have been using ricochet bombs incorrectly this whole time. Or maybe it's because I fired it, like, directly into Piecemeal, so there was no ricochet effect. So I didn't have to wait for it to bounce around for a long time. Maybe that's what I did wrong in my demonstrative attempt. Because normally I feel like I have to wait a very long time after firing a ricochet bomb before I can do anything again. Both health refills are available. I will gladly take them. The real moneymaker for this entire level is the power missile. There are 2 power missile pickups, and you want every single one of them, and you want all of them to land. Ideally on Piecemeal, but killing the enemies is also quite important. So use them as necessary. Our special is also fantastic. It does deal quite a bit of damage. And it is pretty likely to hit a target. Even in this level that has sloped floors that are otherwise hard to aim missiles upon. I don't know what preposition would be ideal there, but you know what I mean. Makes it hard to aim your missiles. Gotta toggle between the missiles and the lasers. Wavy Chew here just in time to enjoy the final few minutes of Small Brawl. Didn't even get to see the unique destructible that I didn't show off in the Let's Play. We do get to see Piecemeal using specials that I didn't show off in the Let's Play. There's been Shadow and Mr. Grimm. Both getting thrown at me. Two enemies left. I'm a bit behind on lives, but it should be perfectly fine. I have game overed on this level. It is somewhat difficult. It's not as difficult as the Trapper fight, ironically. At least not for most vehicles in my experience. But it provides a fair amount of challenge. I'm saving these power missiles. They'd be best served in the damaging of Piecemeal. So let's blow up this guy with our machine gun. Or a mild bump. Then the power missiles should, more or less, knock us into the next phase. Pretty quickly. I mean, Piecemeal clearly likes power missiles, so they must be good. There. I barely survived, and my shield didn't go off. But that's sort of to be expected. Uh-oh. That bomb was right next to me. I could easily have been lethally exploded. Oh man. Shadow's getting all the pickups right now. That was downright unfortunate. I would say energy attack detection is on the poor side, but not nearly as bad as Twisted Metal 2. Significantly worse than Twisted Metal 3. So as we go through each and every single game, we can compare them all. Let's hear them all out. Where is Shadow? Nowhere. Shadow is deceased. I was hoping one of the power missiles would have respawned. Not the case. I could pretty much just stand here, and if I die, I will respawn with a bunch of weapons, which will then easily take out Piecemeal. But I didn't even die. There we go. After some loading screens, we should enjoy our very satisfying ending.
Oh man, you could have anything you wanted. And all you can think of is a little ice cream? Let me down! Stop the car! Who's the old lady?
Hoisted. His own petard. There goes Calypso. Young Billy Calypso, as he is sometimes, but infrequently called throughout this game. I don't even know if that's canon. But there we go. Sweet Tooth completed on medium difficulty. You never want to play on easy, because it never counts. Game punishes you by throwing your entire run right in the trash. There we go. There's not too much you can say about Small Brawl. It's a very simple game. Very straightforward. A bit minimalist, but again, the interactable objects throughout each level are very, very impressive and very cool. So, that's another one in the can. Moving right along. Gonna take another short break. Finish off my day-old Domino's pizza. And move on to Twisted Metal Head-On for the PlayStation Portable home console. Portable console. It is sort of in the name. Anyway, be right back.